And so, closing remarks, which is a bit of a thankless task because now we've just had our mind opened by so many great contributions. We need to be out in 10 minutes, so this will be short, I promise you, and I'll try to leave some time to Steffi as well. Anyway, my closing remarks will just be an extended way of saying thank you to everyone who's given their attention and their work today, both at the front end and at the back end of this symposium, not least to the speakers and the performers for their brilliant and stimulating presentations. I mean, this has all been so rich and, well, we've all been given so much to think about and to think with, not least, from many different angles. Now, yeah, well, Sapphire Noble mentioned, or you talked about an AI arms race, which sort of gives me an opportunity to go back to Norbert Wiener, with whom I started, because his voice comes out of the Cold War era, when thinking machines, as he called it, were hoped to be a way to further meaningful communication and control of humankind's collective death drive, speaking of Freud again. And Wiener even believed that what he called the magic of modern automation should not be used to further personal profit. Haha. I mean, from today's point of view, this all seems wonderfully quaint and old-fashioned. And it's safe to say that we today are more disenchanted about thinking machines. Sapphire Noble insists that we have to fight for information as a public good, as we're facing the internet as what she calls the most unregulated social experiment of our times. So between the continued idealization of the internet as democratic and egalitarian and as a post-racial space, and on the other hand, the urgent call for reckoning with algorithmic oppression, I think we've heard and seen today how there is a space to claim agency and take back attention, even as we're being haunted by attitudes and mindsets and interpolations that ought to be consigned to the historical past. So there were some important history lessons in there for us today, I think, as we need to figure out ways to work with the algorithm, as Ramon put it. And in terms of counteracting and counter-imaging the flattening of human experience that Dr. Noble talked about, and in terms of performative interventions in algorithmic logic and practice, surely artists are leading the way here, what with ghost agencies working in the shadows of algorithms, and Biarritz's dreamy psychedelic anti-futurism, and the digital extimacy of the algorithmic theater's experiments with memory learning software, and not least cost groups operations in a public sphere eclipsed by apathy and violence. We can connect otherwise, as Lotte Løvholm and Anne Kølbæk write in their book on algorithms, if we, as they say, insist on pausing in the algorithmic space and staying where things are confusing. And interestingly, also Sapphire Noble called for opportunities to pause, and also Annalena Schiller talked about the possibilities for confusing algorithms. Questions of institutionality and policymaking hovered in the background of Annalena's talk, I think. Questions that are no doubt symptomatic of how issues that we've been discussing today unfold at a time when cultural institutions and democratic institutions are under a lot of pressure, and when humans are under a lot of pressure too, and human togetherness is under a lot of pressure. Katrine used art and philosophy to point to the limits of our digital fascination, as she puts it in one of her books. And she did so through examples of meme violence and meme campaigning in a digital cultural democracy with a deficit of both culture and democracy. And finally, in his blistering and very pedagogical lecture on the black technical object, Ramon developed a theory of black alienation in a showdown with philosophy and math as bedrocks of Western epistemology. I think Ramon's talk was a meditation on alternative approaches to contemporary algorithmic practice, and he demonstrated how values are integral to the nature of both knowing and being. I hope that's a way of summing it up and that I didn't forget anyone. There's more to come in the exhibition Attention After Technology at Kunsthal Trondheim in October and the State of Concept in Athens next spring. And speaking of exhibitions, there's Gro has an exhibition opening tonight, Gro and Annie and Ghost Agency. It takes place at Dag Hammarskjolds Allé, number 42 on the 4th floor.
Thank you, Lars, for this wonderful summary and closing remarks. So I won't say so much more about the individual contribution. Thank you all. I think I'm leaving with my mind very full, and I look forward to thinking more with all of you who are part of this project also going forward. Maybe just to close, I want to say that yes, I think we've really today dived or began to dive into why it is so crucial to discuss the biased, racialized, gendered, and so on dimensions of technology and data collections, and also that we need to tend more to the technologies and platforms of the attention economy, but not only that, also the ways in which they go a bit beyond the initial interfaces of technologies. And we need to analyze the workings of their underlying codes, where those codes come from, and ask who benefits from them and who doesn't, and also who is harmed by them. So technology, in this sense, and in the digital divide and in the attention economy, calls for analysis, but also consideration of rage and spectatorship, resistance and activism, as well as the power of who makes definitions and the creation of technology, of paying and withholding attention for social justice. So one of the aspects of the symposium that we started to talk a little bit about, and which I think will be more present in the exhibitions going forward and in the website as well, is the question of epistemic justice, of who is considered a knower. And I think that this question of algorithms, of course, of statistics and the way that algorithms are built, but also of the underlying codes that exist outside of technologies and which are then replicated within the technologies is really, really important for that. And this question of attention and of how we know what kind of knowledge is considered valuable for what, and so on, I think is going to be really important for us also going forward. So this question of epistemic justice and attention in order to be treated equally as a knower within equitable structures is an important aspect of justice as well. So with the symposium, the black box perhaps isn't such a black box anymore, and I'm looking forward to the exhibition as a next step. I also want to thank all of you for being here today and for asking questions and engaging with us. I want to thank all of the speakers, and I also want to thank the teams, the project partners, so Adam, Katrina, Carl, Kaya, and Liz from Kunsthal Trondheim, Maria Ness, Saway, and Mel from Tropical Papers, Iliana, who's here from State of Concept, Lars, Rose, and Fafaya from Art Hub, also SI and my team, the team behind the scenes here, and also IDA, Toaster, and of course, again, especially Art Hub for hosting us here today. Thank you.